Welcome to Motívate Online. I'm Lucerito Salgado.
And I'm Amy Nadine Wilson.
We want to invite you to join our Motívate movement. Our mission is to motivate and inspire Latinos to continue with their higher education and to raise awareness about the Latino dropouts here in the Central Valley.
Each week prior to our conference, Motívate, Discover Your Passion for Success, set to take place Saturday, March 17th at the C.L.A.S.E Student Union at Fresno State. We will be releasing these videos with Latino professionals from all around the Central Valley. They're meant to get their opinion about the recent dropout rates as well as the importance of pursuing a higher education.
Please visit our website, www.csufmotivate.com.
Or search for us on Twitter or Facebook at CSUF Motívate. Hello, my name is Amy Nadine Wilson, and this is Motívate Online. Today I'm here with Tim Rios from Wells Fargo. Thank you for being with us, Tim.
Thank you.
And he's the Senior Vice President and Community Development Director at Wells Fargo, and he's going to go ahead and talk to us a little bit about what he does and what he does with Wells Fargo for the community. Can you please begin with telling us a little bit about what it is exactly that you do with Wells Fargo?
Absolutely, Amy. Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me here. Well, I have the most exciting job at Wells Fargo. Essentially, what I get to do every day, and along with my team, is help people succeed financially. Help people buy their first home, buy their first automobile, start their first small business, learn financial literacy skills for themselves and their kids. That's what I get to do every single day.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the organizations that you work with here in the Central Valley?
Well, we have dozens, if not hundreds of organizations, chambers of commerce, youth organizations, small business organizations. This university here at Fresno State, in fact, we just recently made a good-sized grant specifically to keep our Latino kids engaged at Fresno State. So we're excited about that.
Okay, awesome. And tell me, why do you think that it is important that larger organizations or community businesses in general take the time to give back in some way to the community?
All organizations should take time to give back to the community. I mean, we at Wells Fargo believe that we can only be as successful as our communities. And I think that if all of the businesses that have operations here, if we all believe the same way, we would have stronger, healthier, more vibrant communities.
Okay. And why do you think that it's important specifically for us to reach out to the Latino youth, especially here in the Central Valley?
It's critically important. The Latino youth, as you may know, are graduating at about the 50% rate. That means that in the next 10, 20, 30 years, if we don't do something about our Latino youth, we're going to have a valley full of more undereducated, underskilled, unskilled Latino youth or Latino young adults. And I don't think we want to find ourselves in that situation. We want to help them now, and we want to find ways to make a difference today.
Okay. And what about your educational background? Where did you go to school?
Well, I think it's not an unlike story. I think like a lot of the Latino kids here, my parents immigrated here in the 1980s. But I was raised here, after that here in the Valley. I went to high school in Sanger High School, went to school here at Fresno State, did some graduate work at the University of Virginia. But I have been here, and so I get to see firsthand the challenges that we have here in the Valley. And also the great opportunities that there are here, especially coming here to Fresno State. It's a wonderful school. It's nationally renowned for many things, agriculture, the School of Business, and a lot of other disciplines. So it's a great place to be.
Okay. And when you were studying here at Fresno State, did you have the opportunity to participate in any sort of internships?
You know, Amy, I didn't. And I suppose that I regret that now. I always tell people that I had 20 to 22 units, and I worked 3 jobs. I literally came to school 3 days a week from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I worked at McDonald's. I closed at McDonald's. I worked at Gottschalk's in retail, and did some other side jobs just to be able to go to school. So it didn't leave me a lot of time to participate in mentorships and internships, but I know how valuable they are now.
Okay, definitely. Wow. And I don't think that your story is unlike a lot of students at Fresno State, even today. I wonder, what do you think today the different sort of obstacles students are facing as they try to graduate and be successful in today's economy?
Well, it's a tougher environment. So if you're a student and you want to work part-time, it's harder than it was before. I don't think that employers are hiring as much as they used to. I don't think that they're as flexible with student schedules like they used to be. And that's also harder to find jobs. And also, I think there's the rising cost of college education. I mean, you know what that's like. And so those factors, along with maybe less financial aid, you've got to really look for it, less scholarships maybe. I think that it is a tougher environment, which makes it even more important for students to be savvy, to make contacts early on with professors, with leaders in the community, with potential employers early on, so that when they do find themselves ready to start a job or when they graduate from school, they already have those contacts that they could call on to help them out.
Okay. And what do you think, as far as when you were going to school, what type of community support did you receive, or family support? Was that something that you struggled with?
You know, one of the reasons that I didn't go away to school is because it was important for me to stay here and help my family. And so when I was going to school, I did have a lot of family support. In fact, my mother is my guiding light, and she was not only my number one support system, but she also was my bank. Yeah. Whenever my car broke down, I lived out in, I don't know if you know where the Delray area is, but I used to commute from there every single day, and she used to keep an envelope with money, with, you know, a tablet for when you borrowed money, you write it down and you'd pay it back. You'd write it down. But she was my financial support system. I didn't have a lot of scholarships. I did have financial aid, Pell Grants and Cal Grants, and I also worked several jobs. But having your family here and to support you is big, and that's really what helped me get through college.
Definitely, and I think that we can all agree that, you know, students that don't have that kind of support, it can be much more difficult for them to go ahead and continue their education.
It's very tough. It's very tough. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, recently Wells Fargo gave Fresno State a grant for $150,000 specifically to find ways to create programs to keep our Latino kids in college. I don't know if you know this, that our Latino kids, or Latino, I shouldn't call them kids maybe because I'm so old, but our Latino youth, our students, are graduating at just half the rate of our mainstream population at Fresno State. So what is causing our Latino students to drop out? And what is it that the university can do to engage those students, to keep them more active, to help them through their troubled times of why they're dropping out? How can we tackle that? That's a big factor.
Yeah, that's definitely a question that we're all looking forward to trying to answer here this semester, this year with our conference. I know we've spoken previously about Motívate, Discover Your Passion for Success, which is going to be happening on March 17th. What we're trying to do with that conference is really reach out to students and not just inform them about the increased dropout rates, but also to inspire them as far as what they can do. And now I know a lot of students are working several jobs, and some of them unfortunately do not have the support of their families. So what words of encouragement can you give those students to say, you know, education is worth it, it's important, you have to keep going? Or what would you say to those students to keep them going in that direction?
Well, probably, I used to say that that learning should be the greatest motivator, that the education does give you a certain confidence that you don't have if you don't have a college degree. I've seen that firsthand with people that I work with and people that I interact with. But if there was probably the biggest motivator for young people, would be something that I just heard in Stockton at a conference that they had, is that consider it like winning the lottery. Did you know that in a lifetime, a college graduate will make an average of about $1 million more in their lifetime than someone who isn't a college graduate? So you can almost say that by going to college, you are winning the lottery, and you're winning at least $1 million, if not more.
Oh my goodness.
And so when you consider statistics like that and the importance of a quality life that most of us want to have, I think $1 million makes a difference. So if the learning, if the being engaged, if all of, just the fact of having a college degree and the pride that instills in you, if that's not enough, then consider it like winning the lottery.
Okay.
Okay, very nice. We'll have to use that one. So,
Just to take it back a few notches, to go back to the type of work that you actually do with Wells Fargo, can you tell me what exactly that entails for somebody that might be interested in working with the community in the future? How does someone get to a position that you're in today?
Well, it's something that even people inside the company want to get to, right? Because it's kind of a unique position. Our department has about 200 people in it nationwide. I started in regular mainstream banking, a part-time teller, new accounts person. I did business banking, business loans, commercial banking, commercial business loans. And this position takes all of those skills into consideration, the finance, banking skills, but it allows you to have a lens only for tailoring the bank services and products for low to moderate income people.
Okay.
And so if someone wanted to get to this job, I suppose that being involved with nonprofit organizations as a volunteer, as a director, that might get you there. Knowing about finances, so maybe a major in accounting or finance could also help you get you there. Good communication skills, like what you're doing now, this also can help you get there. And the most important thing for people on my team, I ask them to have the right frame of mind, that they have the right passion for helping people. If you have all of the other skills and you don't have in you to want to make a difference in people's lives, to transform communities, to make things that are bad into better, then the job is not for you. So that's probably the most important thing, and something that you may not be able to learn in school, but something that you can acquire by going out and volunteering and feeling what it's like to be poor, dealing with people who are poor, and helping them succeed one step at a time. In our case, it's financially, helping people pick themselves up, manage their credit, manage their paychecks, manage their budgets. That's what's important to us.
Okay. And as you've developed in your career and as you've continued to move forward, what are some of the things that you've seen as, you know, the internet has become a larger role in everything that we do? Everything is done online these days. So what would you say are some of the biggest words of advice that you see young professionals, maybe mistakes that they're making or things that they're not taking advantage of in reference to new technology that's out there?
Well, I see young people take advantage of all sorts of new technology. In fact, I think young people are at the leading, in terms of use of technology, understanding of technology, and my son shows me that every day because he knows more about it than I do. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think most youth, most students are involved with that already. What I wouldn't want our students to forget are maybe the lost art of writing a thank you note, the lost art of actually calling people and meeting people face to face. I think society hides a lot behind text messaging and email, to the point where when you meet young people face to face, they don't know how to interact with you as a professional. Their image is not up where it should be. They show up for, interviews with clothes that is not appropriate for interviews. So I'm not so concerned about young people and technology. That'll take care of itself. I'm more concerned about young people having the skills, the social skills, and the business skills to compete when the job interview calls for someone who is sharply dressed, who is dressed for business, and who can communicate with others and be a team player. And sometimes actually technology gets in the way of that.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Amy.
This is Tim Rios, Senior Vice President and Community Development Director from Wells Fargo, and thank you for joining us today at Motívate Online.